Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Tryon. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. We are live from our first birthday event, and I'm with Michael Smith from Janome. Of course, you'll recognize Janome Man. You'd recognize him anywhere.
Oh, let's hope so. It's the bald head.
He's been busy demoing all day long. It's been a flurry in the store downstairs, but it's finally calmed down a little bit, so we did not want to leave you guys out at home. I know you guys have been looking for deals and watching for the emails and seeing the posts. So please check your email. There's some extra stuff in there. Grab bags up for grabs, obviously. Grab bag. And lots of, if you're interested in a machine upgrade, there's rules about what we can post online. But I know you're a follower. I know you're watching. If you're wanting to upgrade your machine, reach out to us because we can give you the birthday price. We're just not allowed to post it on the internet. Yes. You know, there's rules, Janome.
Oh, yes.
You know,
which I don't make, by the way. What can we do? But, yes.
We are here right now, though, to demo sort of a... Now, I know most of you don't have a long arm at home. We might change that because this is very cool.
Yes, there is so much more you can do, no matter which Janome long arm you may have. Janome has several of them. There's so much you can do with your long arm.
Sometimes you think, okay, well, obviously I just have to put my whole quilt on and quilt my quilt. Well, obviously, yes, that's what you'll do. Free motion quilt your quilts.
Yes.
But you've got some things you wanted to show us today, and I thought we've got to do this live because everybody has to see how cool this is.
It is very cool. So yes, you can finish your quilt free motion, ruler quilting, the fabulous Pro Stitcher. Janome's got it all, no matter what kind of quilting you want to do. But how about, did you ever think you could install your binding on your quilt?
I know, this is very cool.
So we have the very fabulous clear view feet.
I'm going to grab this, and so I can give you, I'm going to give everybody at home some close-ups here.
Oh, fabulous.
Go ahead.
Hopefully not on me. So we have the square feet. Now it comes as a set of 2. So I have a perfect 1/4 of an inch foot, or installed on the Quiltmaker Pro 20 right now, I have the 1/2 inch square foot. And these are clear feet. And the cool thing about it is binding on your machine. So yes, there's a 1/2 inch. So you can finish your binding however you wish, whatever binding strip you would like. I'm using a 3-inch strip that's folded in half. We're all used to doing our French fold binding on the domestic sewing machine. Well, again, we can do it now on our Janome Quiltmaker long arm. So instead of starting at one end, what I will do is start in the middle of my quilt. So we take a big giant roll of binding that we'd have already measured to make sure we get the center of our binding strip with the center of our quilt. So that way, why we're doing that is we're going to quilt from the center to one side, do the miter, and quilt down one side as long as we can. Then we'll go back to the center, stitch out to the left side, do the miter, and then down to the bar as far as we can. Then we're going to advance the quilt, and we can sew down one side, sew down the other side, then advance the quilt, sew down one side, sew down the other side.
Right.
So then eventually we get to the very bottom, and we'll do one side and across the bottom to the middle. We'll go down the other side across the bottom to the middle, and then join the strip.
So even though this is rolled up right now, right here you would have the beginning of your quilt. This, right? Like this would be the edge.
Exactly. You do all your quilting.
Not to confuse people, because we've just got a tester one on here. But if you were doing this at home, your quilt top would start right here.
Yes, exactly. You would do all your quilting and then bring your quilt back to the beginning. So then you would have your whole quilt here, and then so here we'll start in the middle. We've got a mark here on our frame. So then this binding strip, now again, cut your binding strip whatever you wish. Again, it's 3 inches. I personally like a chunkier binding, so I like mine to finish about 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch. So that's why I'm using this 1/2 inch square foot. So I'm going to line the edge of the foot up against the raw edge of my binding here. and then raise and lower
now,
my
if you
needle.
were at the beginning of your quilt, would you go ahead and put a row of basting stitches there so you knew exactly that your was square, or you would stick it right on the edge of your quilt top?
You could, if you would like, you could use the channel locks, depending on what machine you have. You either have built-in channel locks, like with your Pro Stitcher computer, you could run a channel lock stitch across the top of the quilt so you know it's square. If you don't have Pro Stitcher, we do have manual little clamps that act as a clamp on your carriage so that it will give you a channel lock to give you a straight line. So you could indeed stitch a square line. If the top of your quilt wasn't totally square, you can stitch a square line using your channel locks. So yes, once I get that done, now I'm just going to stitch along, and because I have that square foot, I can see the edge of my binding. So again, I can go along square. Now again, I'm trying to stay straight with the camera. So yeah, so we go basically out. Let me, move this. So again, we would stitch along square with the top of our foot against the binding. And now as we come up to our miter in the corner, we're gonna miter this just the way we do our traditional French fold way on our domestic machine. So when I get to my corner, again, I'm just going to fold up my binding the way we normally would, like that. And then again, back on itself, just as we do traditional French fold binding. And then again, this would be the side of our quilt. We need to make sure we've got a little bit of extra on our machine.
So then really it would be like this edge right, like here.
Yes, exactly. I'm just stopping a little shy for the sake of the camera, but yes, then I'm going to hold this in place. So again, it works out really, really quick and easy. Sew this in place there. So when I get over this miter, I'm going to, stop. We're going to refine this to make sure it doesn't move. There we go. And then get this over that little lip. There we go. And then because I have the clear view foot now, I know exactly I'm going to be 1/2 inch from this edge. It's always hard to demo trying not to get your hands in the way. So then again, I'm going to stitch this down all the way as far down, as far down as I can go. And then stop it. And then raise the foot and do the little...
Sorry about the black flashes, you guys. It's just the cord wiggling. And then the more I hold it, the worse it is.
Oh, okay. So then, can we go back over here? I'm going to go back to where I started. And again, pull up the thread. And then go across the other way. And again, I'm trying to sew a straight line as fast as I can. Now, again, this is where we could also use our channel locks to get the stitching nice and even. So I'll just stop there. And then again, we're just going to fold this up exactly this way. I'll go right to the edge. And we're going to fold this up in our 45-degree miter, fold this down, again, just as we do with a French fold way on your domestic machine. And then again, our stopping 1/2 inch. This is the great thing about using those clear square feet, that it's, in this case, 1/2 inch all the way around the foot. Then here I come down 1/2 inch. And then you move your side clamps if you need to, you know, out of the way as you're stitching this down. And then again, you stitch down each side so that way you advance the quilt and you are stitching down each side as you go along. I have my fabulous mini duckling scissors up on my magnets here on the Quiltmaker Pro 20. So then again, when we do this miter, once we take our quilt off the frame, after it's all the way done, then again, we would take this out. And our miter is stitched. We'll just cut that a little bit. Our miter is stitched exactly the way it is on our machine. Can we see?
It's so, yeah, it's so
it's
cool.
So
that,
fiddly.
No,
but it's
I know, but it's...
Yes, we pop it out and it folds the exact same way. We just have to cut the quilt off.
Exactly. You just cut your quilt right off the long arm. And, you know, when you're finished doing your quilt, just keep it on there, keep it on the frame for another, you know, half an hour and attach the binding, and you'll save all of that, and you know, wriggling around your regular machine.
Oh, exactly. And it's just so much easier. It's a little harder again to demo, but it does work well. This is our camera.
Yeah.
See, it's a little harder to demo when you're wondering where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's so many things that you can do on your fabulous Janome long arm. We had brought lots of samples like, ooh, you want to do what looks like chenille, and it's just yarn that you use the couching feet that's available for all the Janome long arms. You use the couching feet to produce all this fabulous texture. So there's so many things you can do with your Janome long arm. How about quilting your fabric first, then cutting it up and making a tote bag, or cut it up and make garments? So there's so much you can do with your Quiltmaker machines other than just finishing your quilts. Although if that's all you're doing with it, great. We get all those UFOs done faster and easier than ever. And certainly have lots of fun doing it.
We've got a few people in the studio here today, which is really, really fun to have people in watching.
Yes.
Amanda Brown, one of our favorites, is also here. She's helping us behind the scenes today. Hi, Amanda.
Yes,
I think this is so cool. I'm just going to check on my phone here. Valerie's watching. Linda. Hi, Judy.
Yay.
Pilar from Peru. Hi. Mark Swanson's watching. Leanne, St. Louis. Lots of people watching today.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, tons and tons. So that's great. This is really a game changer when it comes to, you know, often people think, well, what else would I use it for? There's sort of a number of machines in the roster of machines that we love that you sometimes think, oh, they're only one use. Like people think, oh, I can only use the serger for that one stitch. No, no, lots. Same with the long arm. Oh, I can only just either free motion, or do I have to go to the expense of getting the computer if I wanted to? Like doing the binding, so cool. There's lots of accessories, the quilting, doing the rulers.
So many feet.
Yeah.
Totally. We've got, oh yes, like couching feet. We have a ruler foot. So if you want to do all your fabulous rulers that we have in the Janome, so comfortable line, all of your thick 1/4 of an inch rulers, and all the different shapes and templates you can do. There is so much creativity you are available.
Oh, I know.
You just need the machine, and then little by little you can add all of these extras.
Yeah,
there's always more. And
a long arm is one of those things that you know, maybe you've been thinking about it. Like you think about a long arm for years, probably before you decide to take the plunge. So if you're thinking about it, give us a call or email us at info@homemade.ca. They're not as expensive as you think. Well, they are. They're expensive, but we've got really good deals on them. I try to really get, like, even this one here, the 20, you know, we're looking somewhere in, you know, 16,000 mark. Wow. Which is, so good for a long arm. Usually you think it's over 20, and usually it is over 20.
Yes,
so
it really depends on what it is. And again, there's always now size as well that you may think, oh, it's too big. Well, here our Quiltmaker Pro 20, it could be set up for a 12-foot or an 8-foot or even a 4-foot.
Yeah. You can get really small or even the machine doesn't have to be the big 20. It could be a 15-inch machine.
Yes.
So there's sort of a long arm for every budget.
If and
you're
even
in the long arm realm.
Quiltmaker Pro 18 Versa with an 18 head, but it's in a table that you can either sit down or stand up. So if you feel, oh, I can't stand up at the long arm for too much, I want to sit down, but your domestic machine doesn't have that big throat space, then you could get the Quiltmaker Pro 18 Versa with an 18-inch throat space, but you can sit down at it, and that machine has a built-in stitch regulator into the table. So you're not adding an extra stitch regulator.
That's cool.
It's built into the table. There's even some extensions for the table, so you add an extra wing. You've got more room to support your quilts. So whatever style of quilting you want to do, and if you're a stand-up quilter, sit-down quilter, Janome's got a machine for you. And your fabulous Janome dealer can help you.
Just call us.
Yes,
Email
exactly.
us. Yeah,
it's that
for
easy.
Sure, for sure. For sure. Or if you're local, come on in. We're happy to let you have a play on the long arm. You definitely want to try it before you buy it, especially if you're local.
Yes.
If you're not local, we're happy to ship it to you. And we've got someone who kind of travels around Ontario, at least, to help you get it set up. Because there is some setup required, and we want to make sure when you get it, you know what you're doing. Michael,
yes,
thank you so much for all
my
the
pleasure.
wisdom.
Thank you. It's been so fun.
We've had a fabulous day here. Thank you to everybody who's watching this later, who came into the store today. It was jammed like most of the day. This is the little bit of breathing space that we've had to finally be able to do a real live
thing. We finally had some lunch. We had some delicious cupcakes. Yes.
Yes.
Courtesy of, yes.
It's true. Anyway, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, studio audience. Yay.
I know no one saw them, but they're there. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.